Let me see. Well, hi everyone. Welcome to a brief history of Wholesome Games. And you can all read the subtitle. Um, it's my very first talk, so I'm a bit nervous, but it's a topic that's very close to my heart, and I'm really excited to share it with you all. Well, you already heard a bit about me, but to recap, I'm Esmeé. I'm a creative director, game artist on Tracks of Thought, and you can play the demo downstairs. Please do. I hope you like it. And I'm also a organizer and community moderator for Wholesome Games. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but that's okay. Woo! Let's go. All right. I thought it would be fun to start designing a wholesome game together. I've been told we should put a little interaction in our presentations. So, give me an animal protagonist. Anyone? Frog is too obvious. Axolotl. All right. All right, let's go for axolotl. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I'm sorry. And let's pick a mundane human activity that can be like, I don't know, grocery shopping, farming. Skating. Excellent. It's not at all saturated. All right, so now we have an axolotl skating game. All right, important question. Is this axolotl gonna learn anything, or is it just more of a chill experience?
He's gonna learn the power of friendship.
Power of friendship. All right, let's go. So now we've created an axolotl skating game where you have your ragtag team of other amphibians in your skate crew, and you gotta recruit them. So we've created our very first wholesome game. If I'm gonna read about it on Twitter tomorrow, you'll be hearing from my lawyer. So, of course, I'm just kidding. To really dive into what is a wholesome game, we gotta go to the beginning. Back in 2019, there was a server community built around the game Ooblets. Ooblets is a farming game where you grow crops. Instead of crops, you grow little creatures, and they have dance battles. And it's a very cute game, actually. I believe it leaves early access this summer. So yeah, play it. But there was a community around it, and the fans there, they met there in their Discord server, and they were like, well, we kind of gravitate towards these type of games where it's just a chill experience. It's gentle. It's uplifting, and we all kind of want to make these type of games. So what if we make a server together? Because they were kind of missing a platform who were promoting these type of games with these common attributes. So Wholesome Games was dubbed. At first it started as a Twitter account, and shortly after a Discord server got founded where a lot of the devs, actually there's also another dev, here comes Nico, is also downstairs, you can play the game as well. They started out in the server as well. At first it was a really close-knit community, and we really didn't know what we were doing at all. But it felt kind of cathartic to talk about our shared experiences making these type of games. Because we've all, games with non-violent themes and gentle themes have always existed around us. Just to call a Dutch game, Lieve Oma, or Stardew Valley, or Animal Crossing. We are all gravitating towards these type of games. And we've all kind of experienced some kind of pushback, whether it was from our teachers, or parents, or other colleagues saying, well, at one point it just felt like the games I want to make and the games that make me smile, you have that on the left side, and then you have the games that sell well, and in the middle you have Nintendo, and you don't have Nintendo money. That's what it felt like for most of the time. Um, so in that first year, we just all trauma dumped about this and really tried to amplify each other, join each other's Discord servers, follow each other on social media, and that kind of became this wave of suddenly these type of indie games getting in the public eye. But things really skyrocketed in 2020 when the pandemic hit and Animal Crossing New Horizons was released as well. So a lot of people were just stuck at home playing these kind of cozy games, trying to escape, find some kind of form from escapism. And also E3 got cancelled. For those of you who are not familiar with E3, it's a really big conference where all kinds of games are showcased, and a lot of smaller indie developers are usually part of a booth specific for indie developers, and they get like a discount. So a lot of people were kind of disheartened. Well, I have this indie game I'm making, and I don't have a lot of budget, and now E3 is cancelled, so what are we gonna do now? And we were like, well, if they can do it, maybe we can make our own showcase. So yeah, that's what we did. In June 2020, we made our own showcase where we showed games with gentle and uplifting themes. And things got kind of crazy afterwards. Can I play it? Yeah. So this is 3 years Wholesome Direct, an overview. Please play, I beg you. Thank you.
Welcome to Wholesome Direct, a celebration of wholesome games.
Yeah, so now 3 years later, we suddenly have this big showcase partnering with Twitch, partnering with the Yeti, and all these eyes on us. And at first it was a bit of an adjustment because just for your reference, we were just 5 people from around the world doing this at first as volunteers. So it was just insane, but I think we've kind of grew into it a bit now that people are more accustomed to seeing these type of games.
Welcome to
No,
Wholesome
don't
Direct,
play
a
again. No. All right. So after the Wholesome Game Directs, we usually have this Wholesome Direct effect, where suddenly your wish lists are going through the roof, and that was the case for us as well. I'm in a very unique position where I've been a community moderator for Wholesome Games, but also our game has been showcased in the Direct. So I know firsthand how it feels to suddenly have an audience for your game. And yeah, so with Tracks of Thought, I thought it would be nice to share a bit of a personal experience as well, how Wholesome Games have impacted our development. Because Tracks of Thought, at first, it was kind of hard to receive funding, especially when it comes to prototypes, right? You're just you're maybe in college, or you're still studying, or you're just graduated, and people are like, well, you have a fun idea, but you don't have the experience. So it's kind of hard to get a prototype out. And when we participated in the very first Wholesome Direct, suddenly we had these numbers to point to, look, over 100K people watch this, there is an audience for this. So, and then we got the funding for a prototype. And now, many years later, we have a publisher and everything. So a lot of, when I talk about Wholesome Games or Tracks of Thought, should really also just thank Wholesome Games. And the funny, the skating frog game. But the funny thing is, when suddenly a lot of more eyes are on your community and you're just 5 people, there have also been some kind of backlash where people were like, well, these wholesome games, they can be a bit infantilizing, childish, can't address serious topics. And yeah, there are wholesome games where you're just a little frog skating around, and that's completely fine. And also a very valid experience, but there have always been wholesome games like Spiritfarer, where you deal with serious topics like how to cope with grief. So that the introduction of those kind of games really helped us kind of define the genre, or rather don't define it at all. Because wholesome games is whatever you want it to be. So yeah, now 3 years later we're at 500K combined audience, which is still scary to look at sometimes. Oh yeah, come on in. We're doing one big showcase a year around in June, and the applications are open around April. So if any of you are working on a game that might fit our audience a bit, let me know, and you'll get my card. All right. So I also wanted to address some key things about how we created this space. Because when you're creating a space for gentle experiences, you also want to make sure your community is a safe space, and you have this big platform, you might as well just do something with it. And we were very fortunate to be able to, for example, work together with Big Screen Records this was a vinyl with all kinds of Wholesome Games soundtracks on it. It was limited edition, and it raised money for the Galaxy Fund, and we've been doing that for a few years now, also this year, where we had these t-shirts made by the EAT, which is a merchandise provider. And the Galaxy Fund is yeah?
Are they still available?
No, sorry, limited edition. Next year. Well, I ordered a few extra. Maybe find me afterwards. All right. So yeah, it also really feels like with these kind of merchandise items, it also really feels like this community of developers coming together, because lots of those characters you see featured here are friends we've made in the server who've been there since the very beginning, or joined us along the way. And we've been very fortunate to provide the Galaxy Fund with funds so they can provide marginalized or POC devs with funding to create their own prototypes, so they have a chance to work on their games as well. Oh, was that it already? Shoot. Well, then I have to get sappy for a bit. Or my teammates are gonna kill me if I don't thank anyone. So yeah, when we're talking about Wholesome Games, it's you also got to mention all the developers that are making this community a home, that are working their butts off to make these amazing kind of games, and we're just elevating their voices, and grateful they trust us with our games as well. And I can't wait to see where we grow to next. So yeah, if you like these type of games, skating frog games or skating axolotl games, you can find us on Twitter, Discord, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram and Facebook as well. For some reason, I should discuss that with my teammates sometime. But There's also a Steam curator page. So if you follow Wholesome Games, there you will also know which ones are in sale right now, which ones you can wishlist. And I think that was it. Are there any questions?